This podcast is part of the Red 5 Network. For more Red 5 Network podcasts, visit red5network.com.
Welcome to the Extra Star Wars podcast. We're covering the Book of Boba Fett in its inaugural series. Fans were very hopeful that this season would blow their minds, but has it lived up to the hype?
The We Have Spoken crew, aka Bob crew, have come together to give you our best and worst takes of every episode.
Sit back, listen, or watch our banter as we give you all the insights into the galaxy that takes us far, far away.
This Extra Star Wars podcast starts in 3, 2, 1, engage. Welcome back, everybody, to Extra Star Wars. You might be wondering the history of the podcast name, and one day we'll get into it. But we've moved on from another Star Wars podcast, mainly because if you search out another Star Wars podcast, there is like 9 different YouTube channels and 5 different Twitter handles. And after I created all of the extra handles, which makes sense in both cases, and Extra Star Wars just spoke out to me, and we debuted it live on Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast / YouTube channel. And while we were talking about Book of Boba Fett Chapter 4, so it was nice to talk about that again, so make sure you go check that out on YouTube. But I am Sean from Extra Techie. We're doing the Star Wars podcast with Mike and Damien Dupree of Casa de Dupree. We got to get a sounder for you, Damien, immediately. We need something from you, raw, and, kind of like, what is that, HBO After Dark?
Like me rapping when I was 17 years old.
We need HBO After Dark, Damien Dupree. We'll think of something. We need some kind of nerding for
maybe
you.
Like a turkey gobble or something.
That would be good. I like the turkey gobble. We'll figure that out. So
something like that.
You just heard a brand new intro that I had to re-record because I can't ever keep up my mind. But this time, to the surprise of my friends right now, they're going to help me record the intro because I'm going to give them lines later after the show, and we're going to mix it all down together, and it should be lots of fun to do that. But we've got Book of Boba Fett Chapter 5. I think that's what we watched. And I got to say, right off the bat, we're going into overall impressions. We went long last time. We're going to go not so long this time. Just kidding. We're going to rock this episode like a wampa rat.
Like a hurricane.
In Beggar's Canyon, baby. Let's do this thing. Overall impressions of the show for me. I loved it from start to finish. There is no way you could not like this episode. Mike.
Is there any way that there could be the perfect episode of a Star Wars series made?
Wow. Bold.
Now, hot take. I think I might like this episode more than the finale of Mando Season 2.
Love the hot take. We're discussing that later. Let's put that on the back burner. We're gonna stew that for the crock pot. I wanna discuss that in length. Just kidding. This episode just went to 2 hours. Damien.
I mean, this was not the Book of Boba Fett. This was the magazine of The Mandalorian, and it was so like, just make Bryce Dallas Howard do everything Star Wars from here on out with Jon Favreau. Like, it was just so good, but it's crazy. I just such a good episode. Such a good episode.
She really did. She really did rock it. And I ended up looking up Easter eggs, and after you read them, nice job, nerds, on the Easter eggs. Amazing callbacks to non-Star Warsy things too that I'm sure Damien and Mike picked up on, and we'll sort of we'll talk about all of it. So remember, we're doing our recap. It'll be brief because we're going to spend a lot of time on our top 3 bottoms and noticements. We'll finish out with our one-sentence summaries. We'll give you a little Boba Fett vocabulary quiz. We'll talk about our predictions, the comments from the net, and then, of course, we'll end it with some salacious OnlyFans satire, or SOS. So let's start with our recap. So Mando shows up to Rocky's trainer's butcher shop and slices and dices and delivers the head to Ostrich Face. I don't know what the name is. He gets the location of the. By the way, I'm breezing through detail work right now because I know we're going to talk about it. He gets the location of his past covert, which was a nice surprise. I like that. There seems to only be 2 left. He learns of the Darksaber. He learns of Mandalore falling. They look at the spear and say, that's really dangerous. And they forge a gift for Grogu, or GFG. They train with the saber. He duels, was a Paz Vizsla for the saber. He wins, but is ultimately cast out because he removed his helmet, but maybe there's an atonement arc coming down the line. We'll see. Mando on a commercial flight is the funniest part of this episode. Clearly, it's hilarious. He gets to Tatooine because that's a hot destination spot. Thank you. Pele shows Mando's ship, which is a N1 Naboo starfighter. We're giddy about that. Everybody's giddy about it. They rebuild it, of course, in a day. There's a sketchy Jawa sex story that we'll get into the salacious details about later. And the ship comes out looking just so sleek. Fennec miraculously shows up to tidy up the episode, puts a little bow on it, and credits roll. How'd I do with the recap?
That was very precise and
Yes.
very to the point.
Very good.
And perfect.
Thank you. I called Bryce Dallas Howard the other night. I said, hey, how's this outline look? And she said, that sounds great.
And then you said, please take over for Patty Jenkins for your little Top Gun Star Wars movie.
My gosh. Crazy. So, what an episode without Boba Fett. What an episode. What a direction, right? We talked last time how episode 4, I joked about it, but I was serious because I made it on the live show. Like, this last episode 4 fully healed the series, and I'm sticking with it. And we get this episode right off the bat, and it's an amazing episode. There is a lot to unpack. But let's pull out our top 3s right now. I'm going to start with Mike. I'd like to hear your number 3. Let's talk about it.
My number, I only had 2.
Oh, okay.
I only had 2 because they are longer highlights.
They're meaty.
Yeah, because the highlights take up at least 10 to 15 minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with my number 2 one, which is the entire N1 Naboo starfighter. And beginning with the overhead shot, the montage. Don't care about the montage.
It actually was pretty good. It
was a good montage.
Mm-hmm. It didn't annoy me because it didn't feel fast. Because there was lots of breaks and stuff like that. There was chatter, there was robot funniness and things like that. So I thought it wasn't quite of a montage.
I am starting from the overhead shot of just looking like Beskar armor N1 Naboo starfighter to the flying right into the danger zone. You get the pod racing course. You get the nodding to the little kid Rodian who still has terrible fingers that don't move. You get double dank Ferric.
Oh, man.
Double dank mother effing Fennec.
Ferric, not Ferric.
Whatever.
You get the run-in with the Rangers, and I always forget the captain's name. You get the sublight jump, and then you end with Wizard.
Wizard, baby.
It was just perfectly done. And I love the whole Gunner's Run. I'm sorry, not Gunner's Run. That's a bar in Fishtown.
Beggar's Run. Beggar's Canyon.
Beggar's Canyon.
Which could also be a bar in
We're
Fishtown.
losing them. Well, yeah, that's
Could
true.
also be a
That's
bar
true.
in Fishtown. The Beggar... I don't know why I called it Gunner's Run. The Beggar's Canyon... like pod racing course, the entire scene, loved every bit of it, start to finish.
Yes. Oh my gosh, so good, Damien.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I mean, we've got a lot to unpack for Naboo Starfighter, so let's hammer it out now.
That was my number 3.
Okay.
I really just like, a lot of people crap on Phantom Menace, and a lot of people just like look down on it because like some of the lines are just very weird and cheesy, and there's just so much goofiness with Jar Jar. But like the aspects of like the pod race run and everything else that they brought into this, especially with the N1 Starfighter, was so cool. I love that space cops don't like doing paperwork, and they rather just let somebody go instead of pursue him.
Yes.
That was hilarious to me. And just like you said, Mike, that whole entire scene was just so cool. And I guess like in a way it redeemed the Naboo Starfighter, because I always thought it was a really cool looking ship, but people associate it with the prequels and people crap on the prequels. And now, of course, Mando comes in and just makes it badass. So it was really, really cool to see that.
Yeah, so on take a look at YouTube now. If you're listening to this on the podcast audio form, go check out YouTube right now at the, I don't know what mark we're at. We're at the 11-minute mark. Might be about the 12-minute mark with all the intro stuff. We've got the finished N1 Naboo Starfighter, which, by the way, doesn't have a name, so we're just going to use the class of the ship. That seems to be a theme.
I'm calling it Wizard.
It's not
Wizard.
If it's not the Silver Wizard, I'm pissed.
Wizard Crest.
It's incredible looking, and I think did I send you over an article that people have already modded it on Lego?
Yes.
Yeah. So I put it in some kind of chat, and they've already modded it for Lego. I immediately started looking into Facebook Marketplace and eBay to look for an original Lego model, and they're going. And I don't know if it's related. It just might be the age of it, but there's 3 models that. Well, actually, there's 4 models that I saw. Model 1 is the original Lego Systems year 2000 model. You have. The next one, I think, was it had Obi-Wan Kenobi and a couple of droid decots, a lot of minifigs with the ship and kind of like recreating that hangar scene. You had the third one, which was a Naboo Starfighter and a droid ship. Losing the name, I forget, but they're the automated ships that look like they were pterodactyls walking on their legs, and then they would fly. I forget what they're called. And the one, I actually had this, the Ultimate Collector Series Naboo Starfighter with the chrome Lego pieces. And like a, oh man, I was going to say something that I don't want to say, but I'm going to say it. Like a Bantha Diddle, I sold it.
Oh, Bantha Diddle.
I sold it, that son of a gun. And now it's going for $400, $500 today. But again, that's 22 years. That's 22 years ago I had that, right? So I immediately started my search for the N1 Starfighter. It commenced. I actually sent a message to Andy's Brick Shop. They didn't get back to me. I'm annoyed by that. They don't check Facebook too much, I don't think. And I couldn't believe the price. Lego Systems Original 2000 with shipping and tax, $58.
That's stupid.
And it looks complete to me. So I'm excited to get that back. It's such a great model. I remember it. That's how good of a memory that is for the Starfighter. But I've got a sounder section at the end. I've got a very interesting noticement about this scene with the rebuild. That's coming later. But I was giddy when they pulled back the curtain. And I loved First off, I loved the Phantom Menace when I was 10 and 11 years old when it came out. Like, how could you not? And just the scene of a kid going in to the droid control station and just wreaking havoc by luck. You look at the scene where he's toggling up and down to get the engines to refire, and he clicks all four up. Click, 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 like Mando just did in this scene. Boom. Hits the thrusters, that thing fires up. It all makes sense. Oh, so good. And then, of course, the wizard is a callback to the young Indian boy. I forget his name. I'm sure Damon. Do you know the name, Damien? Do you have the name offhand?
Absolutely not. No.
I will. We'll look him up. But he's kind of one of those famous, non-famous characters in the Phantom Menace. It's Anakin's friend.
Yeah.
Anakin's friend in. It's right there in Phantom Menace. Go. His name is Kitster.
Kitster.
That's it. Kitster. It's such a callback to Kitster because he says wizard. I'm pretty sure he says wizard. So that's pretty exciting. So yes, I would absolutely agree that the N1 Starship and Wizard was my number one in this story. Damien, throwing it back to you.
Yeah, number two for me was just the flashback scene of Mandalore and the Terminator 2 Judgment Day vibes from it, like having those K2 robots, like the droids walking around, like that was just such a pull from that movie. And it was super cool to see that.
Scary. Scary.
I don't even think you need to watch Terminator to like know what that scene was calling back to or referring to. And that was super imposing, super scary, really cool, like, Wrath of God, End of Days type scene. So that little flashback was super cool. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, Terminator 2. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I thought that too.
It's so good.
Yeah, that's all I want to say.
It's so good.
I'm not a Terminator guy, so I didn't see the reference, but I know, I went to Rogue One, obviously, right there. They were notorious droids, and then we never really get to see this part of the Empire.
Yeah.
We have to assume that they're bad. We're told that they're bad. We never see it. And the 99 bombers just wreaking destruction. No insurance company is going to pay all that damage.
What do you do if you look up in the sky and you just see all those fighters up there? Like,
you're dead.
Scary.
They had no shot. They had no shot.
That Moff ordered, right? Moff was like the head of that, right?
I believe Moff Gideon ordered that for sure. Most definitely.
The armorer did know who Moff was.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I guess I think they were off-world, and that's why they weren't on Mandalore. I guess maybe that's why they survived. But yes, that was an excellent part of the story. Did I have that? Not quite.
So I'm, like I said, I only had two. My number one is just the entire cold open. From the silhouette, from the bring you in warm or bring you in cold, and when the music stopped.
Or I can bring you in cold.
And I don't know if you noticed it, the music stopped for him saying that. And it was just delivered with so much gusto because the music stopped. There was that really cool Darksaber shot where he's bent over on one knee and just gets the Darksaber going, which he still doesn't really know how to wield yet. And we'll get to that, I'm sure. Limping out with a head in just a blanket. Just saying to all the other Clatoonians, it's like, hey, there's some New Republic credits in there. I don't want them. You guys could just split them up. And then you end with the combo of the Boba and the Mando music.
I'm glad you mentioned that, friend. Yeah, excellent.
I just got chills.
I remember, I remember watching that scene, and I was thinking, who is the director of this today? Because this is gearing up to be something fantastic, and I didn't know whether it was going to go some Mando time and some Boba time. Now we know that there was 0 Boba time.
Yeah.
And
I would like the numbers.
It was 100% MT, and I'm not counting Fennec as BT.
You must. I want the numbers. I want the exact. I want the 97.6%.
I'm assuming that it's probably going to be like 99.1% MT and 0.9% BT.
I'd be lying if I said I'm disappointed in you.
Well,
for not giving me the exact numbers.
Well, after the first watch, it technically is all in Boba time. There's just no Boba action.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. No. Great cold open. I mean,
it may have been better than the cold open to The Mandalorian.
It was good. It was violent.
Yeah.
It was really violent.
Yes.
He sliced a dude in half.
He sliced everything himself.
Only thing he didn't slice was actual meat. Like, get to work, Mando.
Just
what the hell.
Just unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
It was great.
And if on second watch, that blade was getting heavier as he was wielding it. It was. That's why he hurt himself. You know, because it dropped down on him. He wasn't ready for it, and whatever. And we'll cover the Mandalorian lore stuff in a hot second.
This is going to be 3 hours. I'm sorry.
It is. It's going to be long. Yeah, we've got a lot to cover. Sorry, wives. Deal with it. All right. The dads are playing tonight. This is what it is. So the cold open, he comes through that what my wife would call the what are they? Boogie like suckers or whatever, because the kids hit them. And then it just hits the. they have them at the playground where Kate goes to school, and she's like, "Kate, don't go near those. It's gross." And it is. It's absolutely terrible, especially with noses and stuff. It's a science experiment. And just from start to finish, even the whole that doesn't look like me.
Then he drops the puck. Sorry, bud.
That guy's voice sounded so familiar, but when I went to IMDb, it was just like some random dude.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah. So since we're speaking about the Darksaber, that is number 2 for me, the Darksaber lore, right? And in sort of like a minute, we get like the history of Mandalore from the Forgerer, and I think I have a problem with her.
Is it with how she speaks?
I like the way she speaks, but I think her perspective is skewed.
Would you mind if I spoke with her for the rest of the episode?
You can, if you remember, okay? And you have to drink to that if every time you take a fault there. No, I think, and I can't say I think. I was scrolling through Twitter, and why is, if the Beskar spear is so dangerous, and it's made out of Beskar, I can pierce Beskar, makes sense to me. I'm in, right? Totally makes sense. Aren't the whistling birds also Beskar?
The whistling birds.
You know what I mean? So I don't understand. So my thought goes to, and again, not my original thought, but it got me thinking. Why did she want to destroy that spear? What happened there? Like something's off in that scene. And it casts, and it obviously, with Mando, he didn't lie. Did you think he was going to lie about taking his helmet off?
I think he just has nothing to lose at this point. Like, he came back. Yeah. He didn't expect them to live, so he went on living his life and doing what he had to do, or what was right by Grogu. True. So I think for me, looking at that, he was just kind of like, well, I didn't think you guys were alive, and then they're just hanging out here. Why are there no handrails, by the way, on the catwalks down there? That was very dangerous.
It's super dangerous.
But yeah,
super dangerous.
I think he figured he had nothing left to lose. He wasn't going to see them again, and whatever. And after seeing Bo-Katan and everyone else take off their helmets, he just kind of, I guess, eased himself into it, and also Grogu motivated him to, so he could look upon him with his own eyes.
And Sean, I agree with you that something is off with the armorer, especially when she stopped the duel. The duel should be done when someone either yields or someone dies. She stopped the duel.
Ooh, good point.
And then she started, just like you said, not criticizing, like interrogating Mando about the mask. So it's weird that she stopped the duel, regardless of like being in the same coven. Covert, not coven. I'm sorry, they're not witches.
I mean, we're not too far off.
So I was kind of put off by the armor from that, her stopping the duel.
Yeah, the spear melting. Like, I get that. Like, all right, I didn't forge this, therefore this won't work for me. Maybe there's an offensive thing to Mandalorian culture to forge Beskar in the shape of a weapon that's not meant to be a spear. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the point. I don't know. I don't know enough about Mandalore history to really make that decision. I just thought, I mean, it's also, well, it's weird because it's a weird plot write-off too. I don't know. I don't like it.
That was one of my high low lights. Low light. Yeah. I loved the Beskar spear. Loved it.
Yeah.
But highlight, now it's little baby armor for Grogu, or he could have earrings all up because they look like little chain links. So now he could pierce his ears all the way up and down.
So wait, great. I didn't really catch what was being made. Was there an indication of it?
So I don't. There was little chain links that you saw drop from the Beskar steel. Okay. And I don't know if it was just the spear tip that they used or the entire spear. Because that entire spear would not make that little Grogu-sized package with the ears hanging out.
Yeah, definitely not.
There would be a lot more than that from that.
I kind of thought that he was just remaking the ball. That's kind of what I thought it's just going to be, but I don't know. Is it just a Beskar ball?
I feel like it's a necklace or something. You did see little.
Maybe it's the mythosaur.
Maybe it's the best friends, the heart with the crack in the middle. G and DD on the other side. Who knows?
I mean,
made out of Beskar.
Did we didn't see what happened to the rest of it though, and there's no, like you said, there's no way that that huge staff just made enough to fit in a handkerchief. So did the armor keep that, or did she forge something different for Boba? Maybe dual little spears or whatever.
Refill a whistling birds. Who knows?
Yeah. So real quick, I'm sorry we sidebarred. Circling back to Darksaber lore.
Yes.
Okay. So the the sword, Jedi and Mandalorian created it. What was it?
Tar Vizsla.
Yeah, Tar Vizsla, and I feel like I should know more about this. But see, the crazy thing is that it's not really mentioned in the original storylines. It's probably mentioned in some sort of book somewhere that I didn't read, and we're getting the shortened version of it right now. And Clone Wars and Rebels, and that's really where it got hot in terms of Darksaber lore. But I just why wouldn't Mando know about this already? What is the forger hiding? Why does she know so much and only chooses to share things when brought up to it? because she definitely recognized it. She almost recognized the wound before knowing, like, she's like, she knew exactly what that wound was. And she only needed visual to confirm of what it actually was. So
Is she biding her time? Like, in hopes that either Bo or someone else would get the Darksaber?
Well, that's the lore, right?
Could eventually challenge?
That's the lore.
Because she could have easily taken it from Mando with like a wrench and like a fire poker.
Yes. Yes, he does not, stand up well. But I did enjoy that, though. The fight scene, the forms, and I don't know if that's swordsmanship. I'm not familiar with that, but it definitely gave me like Jedi swordsman vibes, where they have different forms and whatever. And I know there's people out there that are better at that than I am. But I actually enjoyed the pacing of the scene. They didn't just go, "You are now fully trained in Darksaber," and it's like, no, he's not even close. Like, that's going to be a whole thing where he's got to get better at that.
I mean, even
Go ahead.
no, like even like pre-Vizsla, like he's like a husky dude. Like he even was like, I really like that they sold like the importance of focusing on your enemy or who you're attacking versus focusing on how you're going to wield the Darksaber. Because he was even like just like kind of like limping around trying to swing.
It's so interesting. I love every bit of it. And now I really want to watch the end of season 2 of Mando to watch how Moff Gideon handles the weapon.
That definitely
that
warrants
is one thing I mentioned. From what I remember, Moff handled it pretty well without really struggling.
Yeah, I gotta see. But he had it for a long time.
Right.
Maybe he figured it out. I don't know.
Wasn't there? I did a little bit of reading on Mando lore about the Darksaber. See what I did there?
That's a great name.
And was it Sabine Wren struggling with the weight of it? And I can't.
Yeah, is it consistent through the shows? I'm curious about that.
The one thing I read was Sabine Wren was struggling with the weight of it. And
okay, yeah, she was being trained by Kanan in Rebels.
Kanan, yes. She was being trained by Kanan, and Kanan was telling her that, like, if your mind isn't focused on one thing, very Force-esque, which makes sense because it was forged by a Mandalorian / Jedi.
Yeah, definitely.
That you can only
has a kyber crystal in it. Yeah.
You can only control it with a clear mind. Your mind's not scattered. You're not torn between two things. So
bold prediction incoming.
Will we find out if Mando can essentially be Force sensitive, or does Grogu take the Darksaber?
There it is. That's what I'm looking for, baby. Yes, it's a good chance that Grogu gets this weapon and somehow wields it and connects to it. And holy bejesus, I don't even know if the fanboys would handle it.
How are you going to ever top that in Star Wars? Grogu,
I don't know.
Wielding
easy, Rey Skywalker
weapons ever. Man.
Yeah, this is...
Somehow he returned.
Somehow
he came
Grogu
back.
wielded this weapon. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Darksaber is a hot item, and I was waiting to unbox the Darksaber for Mando season 3. I think I have to unbox it now.
Dude, I would have unboxed it the day was on my doorstep. Like I could. You have patience of a saint.
I got patience of a saint. I also have to set up the studio, and by studio I mean a table and a light. There's a whole thing that's got to go into it, but we're gonna get that unboxed sooner rather than later. Now that we have Mando wielding the hell out of it. Slicing and dicing. Mando slices. Okay. My third one, my final top, is the Ring Space Station, which is fantastical cinematic world building that's finally different than a world. than a normal world. This is a strange, High Republic-esque type station that they've described in these books, where you have Starlight Beacon, and it's sort of a giant space station floating in the middle of orbit that's acting as a communications relay to the frontier. You have the Amalaxi station. I don't know if I didn't say that right, but that was basically a giant greenhouse that was shaped in a ring. You know what I mean? So like, are they throwing my High Republic brain? You don't know High Republic. You don't really read it. I read the High Republic. Are they throwing High Republic a bone here? Is this a world, a ring, of some kind of gravitational no handrail place that links back to the High Republic? And I think it does. I think once we learn a little bit more about the world, we get the name of it, I think it's going to start popping up in High Republic lore, and we're going to get some connect. And then I appreciate that more, because they're making a conscious effort to, you know. So the whole episode was nostalgia. So why not connect something new that's old, that's new into it? But just like the sun, I don't understand how the sun works, but like different sections were lit. How does gravity work on it? Are there different cultures? I saw green roofs. I saw different things. I saw towers. I saw such cool shots. The last 3 episodes have had great cinematic shots, and it's amazing. I loved every bit of it. Ring Station.
It was really cool. I agree with you. I got a lot of Solo vibes from him walking in the streets, and
Yeah,
it just like I said, it just looked very solo-y.
Yeah.
And I scoured. I was looking through everything. I was like, this had to show up somewhere. This sort of station, something. I was like, couldn't find anything.
It feels like this is what they dug out of the trench of the Death Star.
Yeah,
and they said, like, this is the piece that would fit in the trench perfectly.
I googled, where is this space station in episode? It's not a thing.
No, I've never seen something like this. But this is brand new for me. I don't know. Again, Legends, maybe it's in there, but I mean, they spent a lot of time world building that. They wanted you to see from various angles the world, from a horizontal and a vertical. I made gestures. If you're on audio podcast, go check out the YouTube video. Make sure you check it out. It's more exciting, I'm telling you.
It was beautifully shot too.
Beautiful. Awesome. My goodness. Lots of CGI spent in this episode for sure. Yes. For sure. Oh, you got an itch?
Yeah, I got an itch.
Anything on the Ring Station, Dames?
I mean, it was just like you guys said. Like, it was very cool looking. Very. It's just neat to see different corners of the galaxy.
Yeah,
and especially this episode, because pretty much we've been on Tatooine for the entire season. So to get off world
since 1977,
like to get like off world and just see more galaxy, more world building is always fun. Like, even if it might not be as like glamorous and you know, all this other stuff, it's just fun to see more things from the galaxy, because like, you know, people like develop headcanon, or they think, or they wonder what's going on out there. What does the rest of the galaxy look like? And we see all this stuff. We see like the, you know, the airport and the train station, which is way better run than SEPTA, FYI. And I, you know, it's cool to see. Like, it was just really, really cool. All of that stuff was really neat. So, you know, I'm all for it. Like, I don't know, Bryce Dallas Howard, just everything in this. I have zero complaints about the episode. Like, me personally, it was just so good.
Yeah, for sure. All right. That's all the tops I have. So at this point, I think, Damien, do you have a final top?
My last top was just the like Mike said, the Rocky meat packing plant. Like it's just neat to, like, we have a robot chef chopping up like cabbage and whatever in the kitchen, and now we have like a meat packing plant where guys are literally just like hacking away at stuff, like blue collar workers. I was really hoping that Paulie would have cameoed somewhere with like a fifth in his hand and be like, "You can't date my daughter, Mando," or something like that. It was very Rocky vibes. Obviously, like, we're all Philadelphia guys, like outside of Philadelphia for me, but like immediately my mind went to like, I hope Mando is just like, you know, throwing lefts and rights at one of these things that's hanging off the hook. But it was cool.
I could have
that was
sworn
my top.
he would have missed a Clatoonian and just punched a sack of meat, and I would have loved it.
Or use that to
That'd have
like
been fun.
take them out. Like, I don't know, throw it at them. Like they're probably on like some kind of like gliding track or something. But it was cool. It was just very, you know, Rocky vibes immediately.
Yeah, this episode had a lot. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just to say, from that scene, I saw. I don't know who actually designed it, edited it. There was a funny TikTok I saw of that opening scene, and it was Shania Twain's "Man, I Feel Like a Woman," and it was as soon as she says "Let's go, girls," the car wash things open up and Mando comes through. It's like "Let's go, girls," and it opens up and Mando comes through. And I lost my mind.
I'm going on TikTok right now. I can find it.
Please tag Extra Star Wars on TikTok on that so we can get that reposted, please. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh man.
This episode had a lot of like realistic like wonders where you have the commoner taking a commercial flight. Mando, he's just like us. He has to check all his weapons at the door, just like us. Right?
He gets
this is sitting coach, just like us, and have kids stare at you like a freak, right? Like, it's
also,
great.
He had 2 free seats next to him. That's pretty.
He sure did.
Pretty luxurious.
Extra leg room right
that
there.
Is. I mean, he definitely paid for those 2 seats for sure. I mean, there's no way that he was sitting next to anybody, or maybe people avoided him. You know, and then you just have like the alleyways, and you have like people rushing to see their loved ones on Tatooine, because that's not realistic at all. I mean, who wants to go to Tatooine? Let's be real.
I was hoping for a cab driver with like a sign for like somebody.
Yeah, that would have been awesome with like an Arabesh sign.
He's got like Flash Mando,
little Jeff Cap. Little Jeff Cap, that would have been. What if it was Grief and he's gone bad on his luck on Navarro? Navarro didn't work out for him. And
what if it was Horatio Sands guy? Why can't I remember his name?
Oh my god!
Mithril running like an Uber service on Tatooine.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Well, listen. Doesn't matter how good the episode was. There's always things that we can nitpick, and I will nitpick. All right, just because. One, this wasn't a Book of Boba Fett episode.
Right.
This was Mando Season 3's prologue, and in no way progressed the story of Book of Boba Fett. Not one iota. Now, maybe there are themes that you could match to Boba or whatever, you know, between him realizing that he has to go on his own path, you know, and by happenstance, he happens to be on Tatooine. He wasn't called to Tatooine. It's not like Fennec called him there. He was going there for a very specific reason. Fennec, oh, look at this. He's here. You know, like, all right, that's a little too convenient. But all the stuff ahead that we just talked about make up for that. But my bottom, was it too nostalgia heavy? Because it laid it on thick. Across every turn.
It was.
There was something you could reference. An Easter egg here, an Easter egg there. Womp Rat, Beggar's Canyon, the trench, this, that. You know, little details there. It was well put together. But was it too much?
There was a lot of callbacks, a lot of little Easter eggs in there, but I really think this episode was, at least for me, like a palate cleanser for Book of Boba Fett. Because like we were just waiting, like everything Mando is what I think, at least for me, I thought Boba would be once he comes back. And he was, like, with the gaffy stick in Mando Season 2, taking out the stormtroopers, like he was really awesome and he was badass and he was basically what people have hyped him up to be over the past couple decades. But yeah, I mean, this one, there were a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of like little callbacks, a lot of little things that you would notice from other areas of the galaxy for Star Wars. But for me personally, like I did notice that stuff, but for me it was a palate cleanser. It was just kind of like, this was an episode of Book of Boba Fett, even though it didn't feature Boba Fett, that I enjoyed more than the previous 4 chapters.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. And I didn't hate the episode. I just like to ask the hard questions.
And Sean, I will also disagree with that statement. I do think it was nostalgia heavy, but I do think it was subtly done. Like, there's random things that you catch here or there that I feel like, wow, that's really interesting. And this is me going into my noticements and going back to my original overall view of this episode of being the perfect Mandoverse episode.
Yeah.
Where there's little things like when he's in Beggar's Canyon, you see debris from the barrier that Anakin broke.
Which you can't see on first watch.
No, you can't.
Unless you're lucky, unless you happen to catch it. Yeah.
You hear Pelly mention Fathier.
Yes.
The horses from The Last Jedi.
Yes.
You hear Mando talk to the Jawas about getting the cryogenic density combustion booster, which is what held the crushing chamber of the
trash compactor. I picked up on that too. I picked up on that on the first watch, sucker. Not the name, but the shape and style of it.
Like little things like Wizard. So I agree with you where it did go nostalgia heavy. I do agree with that.
This is layers of cake, but it's good cake.
It's really good cake.
It's really good cake. This cake is so good.
It is so subtly done that it makes the episode work. But I will also go back to what you started saying, that this wasn't an episode, which is my biggest low light. This wasn't an episode of Boba. Like, my low light for this episode was the best episode so far, and there's only 2 left, of the Book of Boba Fett, had 0 Boba Fett in it.
Nothing.
Yep.
Not one iota. He didn't even make an appearance.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's not. It doesn't bode well for the Boba guy.
The one thing...
Now. Go ahead. I was going to say, in my predictions, I'm going to go into what I think he was doing.
Okay.
During this time.
I just want to piggyback off of what Mike was saying. So, like you said, like the best episode of Book of Boba Fett, best chapter, Book of Boba Fett, doesn't have Boba Fett. And like when I think back to Mandalorian, when Boba showed up, I was so worried that he was going to overshadow Mando, and it didn't happen. But now, given how kind of mediocre Book of Boba Fett has been, I'm worried that Mando is going to actually overshadow everything Boba does going forward for the next 2 episodes. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. Because if you think back to when the Bo-Katan and the, what were they called? I forget what they were called.
The Night Owls?
Yes, the Night Owls.
Just Sasha Banks.
They overshadowed Mando in that episode. They were the stars of that cruiser infiltration, which was nice. It was nice to see Mando in the backseat because he always had the plan, and now he had to not be the guy.
And directed by Bryce Dallas Howard.
Wow. This is interesting. I'm starting to see a pattern. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. You can't have 2 world's greatest dads. I'm sorry, world's greatest bounty hunters. You can't, right? Galaxy's best bounty hunter. And I've said, Boba's not it. He's not a bounty hunter. He doesn't do his thing. He's a completely different character. Mando comes in, he's slicing and dicing with Darksaber, and it's exactly what we want Boba to be, and it's not Boba.
Right.
Not Boba. Boba's a pop right now.
But Boba intends to rule with respect.
He does intend to rule with respect, and maybe he'll get there one day with Mando's help, but we got some true muscle coming in to it. So, all right. So that's really my bottoms, right? The nostalgia aspect of it and the Mando season. It's a wonderful progression of story for Mando, for sure. Yeah. Lots of stuff to unpack between when is he going to get his ship back, or when is he going to get a ship? What's he doing with the Darksaber? What's he been up to? You know, all of this is wonderful. Now he's sort of on his own, right? Fennec happens to find him on Tatooine, which is bullshit. but it's fine. We're gonna accept that for the Book of Boba Fett's sake. We're gonna allow that little tiny detail to disappear. That he wasn't called to Tatooine, or wasn't like, it would have been cool if Fennec sought him out on the ring, and he's like, "Well, that's interesting. I have to get my ship on Tatooine." Like, that would have been cool. I think that would have been maybe better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know, but I just didn't like that he happens to be on Tatooine, and I know he's there when they mentioned that we can buy muscle and Mando theme goes. So it almost found like we needed an episode of them finding him and then begging for his help. And hey, I can secure you a starfighter. I'll trade you a starfighter in exchange for your help. And, you know, he sort of gets that, you know, whatever. You know, great episode, but I just don't understand the concept of he happens to be there, right place, right time.
I don't mind that as much because, as he was saying, I think they covered that with Peli saying to Mando, it's like, "Oh, I got your message." So Peli was the one that contacted Mando.
Yeah.
Peli was the one getting Mando a ship, so obviously he has to go back to Tatooine. What I have more of an issue with is, how is he getting to whatever planet that the Clintonians are on, or were they on that ring?
Yeah, I
then got back to that ring.
Yeah, I assume they were on the ring. Yeah, I don't know. It's just he's obviously been traveling by commercial airliner.
Just taking Uber everywhere.
Exactly.
So I really don't have that much of an issue of him going back to Tatooine, because the Peli connection with him getting in a ship, I think that kind of
it's on
hashes
brand.
It out for me.
It's on brand. It's cool. I'm totally into it. It's just it's just how they're like, how are we going to get him to Tatooine, and this is how we're going to do it, and they're going to accept it, and that's fine, and I am going to accept it. I'm done talking about it now. Anybody else have any Dames? Do you have any bottoms of this episode? You said you really liked the episode. I don't know if you have any.
Yeah, I liked the episode. Like Mike said, the bottom for me was just that it's the Book of Boba Fett, and it was the Mandalorian. So it was. Okay. I don't know if this I mean, I don't know if they planned on having this long of a Mando-centric episode. Yeah. Or maybe because there's been all these reports coming out that Tamora Morrison was pushing back on Jon Favreau. He didn't want to say these lines of dialogue. And John's nope, you're going to say them. Sorry. And there's that. Plus, he's been coming out in interviews. They were talking about the Mod Squad. And he's well, these things are out of our control. So it sounds like the lead actor of the show is upset with stuff going on. So maybe they kind of pivoted real quick and just said, hey, you know what? Let's stretch out this Mando episode and not even have Boba in it. But I don't know how early in the game that was, or if this was just planned to be a kind of a soft intro episode leading up to what the plot points will be for Mandalorian season 3.
Disgruntled Star Wars actor doesn't like the way his character is being portrayed.
Sounds a lot like Pedro Pascal.
Sounds a lot like Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like to me. So
well, Ahmed Best never complained.
Yeah,
best in the biz.
That's true. That's best in the biz. Okay, all right. Mike, any other bottoms we haven't mentioned?
One low light that isn't even a low light just to this episode. It's just a low light in general of all Star Wars. I hate catwalk fights.
Okay.
Just I hate the there's no railings. They're gonna fight on this just strip of land, and why doesn't anyone just go and push them to the side, and then you win? I'm gonna throw you to another piece of land where we could fight more. Catwalk fights, don't like them.
I don't. Yeah,
I saw a TikTok of these two guys going at each other in a subway, and the guy tried to throw a haymaker and missed, and his momentum took him to the subway tracks.
Oh, I
saw that. The guy who was fighting helped him out because that was more dangerous than having a fight. So, to your catwalk theory, I agree. 100% agree.
Which is weird.
Although he did fall off the catwalk by the forger, right?
Right.
And then jetpacked himself. Well, he jetpacked
Phoenix
himself up. Yeah. He has his rising phoenix. But they took their jetpacks off, making it a little bit more dangerous. which is kind of saying something, right? They set
And
that
no one
up.
tried to throw the other off of the catwalk. He threw him to another piece of a catwalk.
Well, how could you fight somebody with a little Captain America shield? How can you throw
when it gets
throw
destroyed by
somebody
a
off?
Darksaber?
I know. Immediately. All right, let's move on to noticements. These are the little weird details that you may have noticed, that I may have noticed. We've mentioned a bunch of them already, like Beggar's Canyon, of course, prequels. A lot of prequel love.
Yes.
First thing I want to mention is the long one shot to the casino, I guess, and back to the elevator. So from elevator, up the elevator, around the table, they discuss a little bit of their terms. He knows where the covert is, and then goes back down the elevator. And that was a cool shot. Like, I mean, sort of reminded me, the Daredevil scene of him fighting in the hallway, I think, is the ultimate one shot fight scene for me. But that was such an interesting scene, because I halfway through and I'm like, oh damn, there's no cuts here. And like they had to rehearse that, and there was a lot of people involved with that. So for me, as a professional filmographer, I appreciate the one shot. Did you notice that first way throughs there, Mike? Anything?
I did not notice that first way through, but when you mentioned it, I was like, wow, that was one shot. And I do have to debate your best one shot with mine was from Creed, when it was his fight before the big fight, and Michael B. Jordan actually got knocked out in one of the takes of it. I think it's a 2-round take, and the camera just
one shot, 2-round take.
One shot,
Yo, that's
2-round
wild.
take. Go back and rewatch Creed.
I've never seen it.
Go back and watch Creed for the
All right,
first
we're going to put this
time.
podcast on pause. We're going to return in about a couple hours.
Finish this up. There's a one-shot take in Creed. And Dane, you've seen Creed, right?
I mean, I starred in Creed. Come on now. Dude, I watched Creed like 5 times. Number one, it's an amazing movie. But number two, I watched it to be like, oh, can I see myself in there somewhere? Like, and no, I'm 5'5". There was a dude, like a guy that could be in the Royal Rumble tomorrow night that was standing right in front of me. So, I was there in spirit.
But you know what shot I'm talking about, right?
It is nuts, man. And that kind of reminds me too, like, I love the one takes. Like, I love the one takes. Like, Daredevil did a one take shot, like with the stairwell scene. And that was really cool. But yeah,
I know
exactly
Dunkirk had a one shotter. I didn't see Dunkirk, but I heard Dunkirk had a pretty good one shot running down the beach or whatever.
Dunkirk, the music will just give you anxiety at all times.
It just builds, and it starts like very soft, and it just keeps rising. You're just like, okay, it's building like in my chest right now.
My gosh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So back to Star Wars.
Back to Star Wars. So obviously,
I mean, the Creed connection kind of works, right? With the
we all saw our boy BD droid.
Yes.
What a wonderful surprise.
I love that droid so much.
Wonderful surprise. And you know what it means? He's going to be a Lego sooner rather than later.
He better be.
He's made the jump.
BD.
He's made the jump from the small game developer screen to the big screen. Well, small big screen. And what an awesome droid. I'm so happy to see that. Makes no sense. But we're not going to question it because it's the BD droid, right? It makes no sense. Okay.
I'm assuming that Peli got BD from the Jawas.
Had to have.
Is there any chance that it's BD1 and we get Cal somewhere?
I hope so. I hope so, because I didn't detect any non-BD1 vibes. And why would you call him BD? He's a BD type of droid, right? Didn't really say what it was, so I hope so. I mean, you could change the skin of BD throughout the game, so it's it's not like he's stuck to the color like R2D2 or R5 or whatever.
And there were a couple of shots that were just very Fallen Order when he was like scanning that one thing that needed to go on the N1.
So good. And he's doing little tippy tappies.
And I was terrible
Tippy
at that part
tappies,
of the game.
super excited about finding stuff. Is so good.
I was waiting for him to throw Mando a stim.
Oh my gosh, how cool! Stim. Oh my god, I'm telling you, I died so many times in that game. I don't want to talk about it. Dames, give me 2 things you noticed.
Well, one for me was the symbolism when he's sitting on the SEPTA train to Tatooine and he pulls out the little gift for Grogu. It's in the shape of Grogu's head. Like, that was just very cool symbolism. I really appreciated that. Also, when he leaves the meatpacking plant, this is something that like I noticed on my second watch, but you do see, and this to me personally is like one of my favorite Star Wars vehicles. You see a land speeder zipping by, and like for me growing up, like land speeder was king, man. I bought a land speeder for a good report card and whatever when I was 7. I bought Kennedy the big Power Wheels one that's sitting in our shed right now, so when it's spring we'll unpack it and let her cruise around, but I noticed that one as well.
That's awesome. I did not notice that. Thank you for mentioning that. Thank you for mentioning that. Mike, any notice?
What's the X-34 land speeder?
Ooh, that's a deep cut. I don't know.
Look it up.
I don't know. Do some research. Do some research while Mike's talking. We're going to figure that out.
Most of my noticements were with the rant that I went on with how this episode was the perfect Mandoverse episode so far.
I got you.
I noticed 2 other things. One I actually read about, and so I'm going to count it as a noticement. Fair. The first thing I did notice was that the young lieutenant,
there it is,
of the Rangers.
Yep.
Well, yeah, you know it. He was the stunt double for Mark Hamill in the season finale of Mando.
Beautiful. Love that. Cool. Love that connection.
Love that connection. My other noticement is when the armor was fighting with Mando, Darksaber training, she was counting in Mandalorian.
What?
That is the one that I read.
Huh. So those cadences she was saying were forms. Form 1.
Apparently it was just like 1, 2, 3.
Well,
3, 2, 1.
Hold on.
I don't know fencing.
In Jedi lore, they are known as Form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe she has a little bit of knowledge of that, and because he was positioning his hilt and saber in such a way to do that. Someone who is more knowledgeable than us will certainly correct us.
Yeah.
So that's great. Oh, good noticement right there. Good noticement. My last noticement. Before I throw it back to you, where is it? Oh, when the Starliner is descending and landing onto Tatooine, in the background, when people are coming toward the camera, but in the background, subtle background, you can see the same entrance that gets destroyed in Jakku when the Falcon rips across the top of it. It's sort of, there's like 2 or 3 of them in the background. So it seems to be a generic, common gateway to Starliners or to like pilots' fields or whatever. And I just thought that was cool because it's literally the exact same copy. You'd have to look back at it and check that out. I might even have a photo. Did I get a photo of it? Wait, maybe.
That's pretty.
Maybe.
That's a deep cut, man. Dame. That is really cool.
That's a
very
deep
cut.
I can confirm that is the X-34 model of land speeder as well.
Thank you. No, I did not get a screen cap of it, but I did.
How dare you?
I'm sorry. I did get a screen cap of this bad boy right here. Check this out.
Oh, I love him so much.
Look at that, dude. Come on, if that's not BD1, I'll fight. I'll fight anybody who says it's not.
Like iRobot came out with one of those yet? Like I would buy that in a second. Like a little dude to hang out with me all day and do stuff. Like why not?
I cannot wait until I can build BD1.
Yes, you can build them right now.
I found I want the Lego. Like I don't want some fly-by-night Lego master.
Hey, there's a lot of Lego masters out there that know what they're doing, and I am not one of them. I'll tell you that right now.
I need to follow directions.
Me too. Me too. All right, final noticements. Dames, you have anything else to add?
No, those are my big ones.
Cool.
Land Speeder Mark and Grogu. So that's it for me.
Cool. Mike, final noticements?
I am good.
All right.
I'm good.
All right. Awesome. Now, before we get to the one-sentence summaries, I'm going to take you through a journey of sounders, right? That will sort of encompass the episode before we get to what we would call our one-sentence summary. So starting off with, of course, the third time we've heard this in the series.
I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
Right, which is awesome. It goes into the opening theme, which I've already played. I'm not going to play that again just because it's lengthy. But he gets, so this is during the one-shot scene, and the camera is rolling around the table here. And he finally gets the information that he wants, and he says this.
I'd put that on ice if I were you.
Right, to the head on the table, which is just incredible. What an incredible line. He makes his way down to the covert, and I hate that word. I feel like they need to come up with a better word. And the forger gives him a little bit of a history lesson.
All this talk of the Empire, and they lasted less than 30 years. Mandalorians have existed 10,000. What do you know of this blade?
I am told it is the dark saber.
Indeed. Do you understand its significance?
Whoever wields it can lead all of Mandalore.
If it is won by creed in battle, it is said one warrior will defeat 20, and the multitudes will fall before it. If, however, it is not won in combat and falls into the hands of the undeserving, it will be a curse unto the nation. Mandalore will be laid to waste, and its people scattered to the four winds.
The hilt is of a quality of Beskar I have never seen before.
It was forged over 1,000 years ago by the Mandalore Tar Vizsla. He was both Mandalorian and Jedi.
I have met Jedi.
Then you have completed your quest.
I have.
Then you may join our covert as we rebuild.
This is the way. This is the way.
This is the way.
So in 90 seconds, we got Mandalorian history. So following the YouTube algorithm, we got all the information that we needed about Mandalore in a 1 million view video, which I thought was really awesome. So then we get to the Beskar spear point, and we get a beautiful little interlude from Ludwig. Check this out.
What shall I forge?
Something for a foundling.
This is the way.
For a specific foundling. Grogu.
He's no longer in your care. He's with his own kind now.
I want to see him. Make sure he's safe.
In order to master the ways of the Force, Jedi must forego all attachment.
That is the opposite of our creed. Loyalty and solidarity are the way.
What shall I forge for the foundling Grogu?
Right, so we got that little like harpy sort of things of the Grogu on that, and then a funny. I laughed at this second time around for sure. Mando boards a commercial liner for the first time.
Fine. I know everything that's in there.
It could quite possibly be the best elevator Mando music I've ever heard in my life. I love that the whistling birds sound just like coins in your grandfather's pocket.
I I love Ludwig's music.
We were hard on him in the beginning, weren't we?
Yeah.
We were very hard on him in the beginning. There was I forget what episode. I think it was the tribes of
Tatooine.
Where like he threw like gospel fires in there, and I was like, this is kind of awesome. And that's why you turn it on for Book of Boba. But like the way he made it sound like light and jovial there was
cool.
Pretty amazing.
It's cool. Yeah, for sure. But it gets better. But can I tell you it gets better? Because as the episode progresses, we start to get into the N1 and the Naboo stuff.
The perfect episode.
Thank you. Let's listen to more of it.
Do you have any idea what this is? This is an N1 starfighter, handmade for the Royal Guard and commissioned personally by the Queen of Naboo.
This is a pile of junk.
I love that. I'm gonna isolate this as a pile of junk. So anytime you say something I don't like, I'm going to play that.
Or for when next week's chapter pops up and it's not as good as this week's.
We play that clip and end the episode.
Yes. Because it also could be this. Which is it a private part?
Oh, Bantha diddle.
Right? It has to be. There's nothing. You say the word diddle, and that's not good.
I think she means shit.
Okay.
Diddle.
Bantha shit. You're not going to say Bantha dick.
Yeah.
No, I was just thinking someone who diddles. A diddler.
Who's diddling a Bantha?
Well, listen, I saw Boba generously feed a Bantha and lip kiss him in the desert.
Go make babies.
So let's see.
Can I talk about Peli for a second, real quick?
Yes, I loved Peli in this episode.
Great.
Go. We didn't even talk about Peli. That's how great the episode was. She's not even on the radar.
No. One thing, and it has so much to do. I don't know if it has to do with like Tamora not being just being intense all the time compared to Peli. It's the same exact scene going after the Womp Rat and the little rat droid. Left droid. It's the same exact scene, but it doesn't feel as forced with Amy Sedaris versus Tamora Morrison.
Yeah.
Where she's like, come out wherever you are. And I'm like, oh, this fits. Yeah. Where Tamora's like, where'd you go, you little bugger? And I'm like, nope, this doesn't fit.
Yeah, Boba doesn't say that. Like, Pele, she's just like this, like, kooky old bat, I guess we could say.
It's great.
And, like, that, it just, the words that come out of her mouth, the things she says, make sense given, like, when you look at her, when you hear her for the first time, you're like, that's something she would say. Like, Boba Fett, like, would he say bugger in, like, Empire Strikes Back?
No. I'm going to disintegrate that bugger. No, he doesn't say that at all.
Pele, for me, has become, like, just within the Mandoverse, has become a Lando-esque character where whenever they show up, you're happy they show up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great
and you enjoy when they show up, and you love watching the scenes when they show up.
Yes, I agree. 100% agree. Okay, when the Naboo wizard comes out in Lego, is Pele a minifig?
Her and BD better be.
Right?
Come on.
How do you minifig a BD, though? That's
just
tough.
like they did. Well, just like they did. What's his face? The wheel droid.
Dio?
It's just a peg.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did.
You know what I mean?
I have it behind me. How stupid of me.
I mean, for
well, that's okay. That's why we're here.
For
hold on.
Oh, Bantha diddle.
There you go. What a piece of junk.
They Lego figures it out, even if it's kind of like, you know, a little half-assed. Like for the Fantastic Beasts briefcase, Newt Scamander's briefcase, they made a bow trickle, but it was literally just the green part that you would put into a carrot. And they're like, here you go. He's green and he's leafy, so here's your bow trickle.
Perfect. That's awesome. Wait a second. It just dawned on me that what a piece of junk is also what Luke Skywalker said about the Falcon on Tatooine. Yes. And that's just dawning on me now as I listened back to that. And that's awesome. Why don't we just add another layer to the beautiful cake we got?
Oh
Damn
my
it.
God, this 90-layer cake of deliciousness from Bryce.
We've got 3 more sounders. Let's keep going.
Let's see what she's got.
I thought this was a beautiful scene because you go from the desert orange to blue sky to blue black to black to stars. You know, just a beautiful sort of changeover and transition. And the music is just straight up fire. But I was sad that it ended as quickly as it started. Here we go.
This is not looking good for you.
That's not the one I wanted. That's from last episode. But if you say something wrong again, if you say that BD can't be made in Lego, then I'm going to say this.
This is not looking good for you.
So we're actually going to end with this.
Well, how was it?
Wizard.
Those J-type pulse engines really tighten the old evacuation port,
It
don't they?
tightens the old evacuation port, doesn't it? That tightens the sphincter. That's what she's saying. That get you going. And don't worry, everybody. The sounders just are amazing, and I'm hoping to put together a super cut of the sounders for the finale from episode 1 to episode 7. So get ready for that. Hey, that was our sounders segment. I hope you enjoyed it. 1 sentence summary time. Okay, I started the past couple weeks, so I'm going to throw it to Miguel. Michael.
I have a song.
Yes!
All right, let's go.
Mando's back and you're gonna be in trouble. Hey nah, the Mando's back.
Yes! Incredible. Thank you for your effort. Thank you for your pitch. Thank you for your key on D. Did he just give us the D? Damien, go ahead.
So I also have a song.
Oh, no, I'm the only one that doesn't.
You idiot.
All right, here we go. Brycey, can't you see when you direct, it hypnotizes me.
Perfect.
It's unbelievable.
She is like, how many episodes is she directed? She's like
3.
So she's 3 for
3 in the Mandoverse.
Like, she's been amazing.
She's done Sanctuary, which is the one on Sorgan where he first takes off his helmet.
Right.
Eris with the Night Owls, and this.
She's
I did extensive research. I was like, which ones did she direct? I want to know.
It's crazy, man. She like, I don't know, whatever. It's kind of like with Favreau with Mando. Like, he touched that and made it his own and turned to gold. Like, she just does and gets it. Like, she just gets it. I don't know what it is, but she just understands, and it's great.
She's the only thing from Dallas that I like. For sure. Go Birds. All right. My 1 sentence summary is just a stupid statement. It says, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Mando the magician told Boba to hold my beer.
These are facts.
It's 100%
These are
true.
absolute facts.
Hold on. That brings us to our Boba Fett vocabulary quiz today. Michael, you usually pick up on the words. I wrote down some words. I don't know, Damien, you can write down words if we don't say a word that you found. And Mike, start us off.
All right. So, I feel like in the background we need like fancy music, like that dun, 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 as we're doing like fancy Boba vocab.
Hold on. You should have prepared me for this. I would have been prepared for this.
So I can riff right now while you go look for that.
Okay, riff a little bit for me, and we're going to get this going for sure.
I don't know. I had a thought, and then I just lost it. And I can't believe I just lost it. Dank,
that's okay.
Ferric, I just lost it.
Dank, Ferric. Let's see.
Wait, real quick. What was the last?
Go ahead.
You said. What was the last thing you said before we started talking about the Boba vocab? The vocab.
We were talking about
summaries.
One sentence summaries.
So
I said magician, hold my beer.
I lost it.
Don't worry,
it'll come to me, and I'll pop it up the next episode.
That's okay. Guess what?
Ruined everything.
It's Book of Boba Fett vocabulary.
Vocab.
What do you got for us, Mike?
That's not what I was looking for, but
that's what I have.
Fine with
that's what I have. You gave me 6 notes on a hum. This is what I've come up with.
I was looking for classical music.
You want classical music? Okay,
yeah,
we can get classical. Well, you didn't say classical music.
I know what song you're talking about, but I have no idea who the composer is.
All right, so look for a little night music. Don't cut any of this.
This is called Canon D Interstellar Mix.
I mean, this sounds kind of like Galaxy-ish.
Yes. We'll get this all worked out.
Yes,
exactly.
The graduation walk-up thing?
I believe this is a wedding song.
Yeah, it's a wedding song.
Oh, that's right. Do pomp and circumstance.
All right, but I'll just get right into vocab.
Go ahead, get right into it.
So I'm just going to start off with Pelly line. No skin off my dip swap.
Wait, what? That's a what? I missed that completely. That's awesome. All right, so I'll give you one. Obviously, we talked about interlopers, so we won't say that again. But after Mando says that I revealed myself, Vizsla calls him an apostate.
Yeah.
Leave, apostate. Anything else, Mike?
I got 2 more.
Okay.
I got Mando saying, when they were talking about the ship, Pelly asks him if it's smooth, and he says, smooth as a Gumps Scump Jack.
Yes, I had the same one for sure. We caught on to that. Of course, we've already said Bantha Diddle, but did you know that there's also something along the lines of a scud in a krill pond?
That's the other one I wrote down.
There we go. And I do have one more. She asks how it handles, and he says it tracks like a rail speeder.
Yes.
Tracks like a rail speeder. So
there you go. One.
Oh, go ahead.
There's one. It's not vocab, but it's a quote that I just really liked, and I was like, this is a quote to just apply to everyday life. And
Quotes by Mike.
Well, by the armorer.
Oh, okay.
And should I do it in key of the armor?
Please try. Please try your best.
Persistence without insight will lead to the same outcome.
Persistence without insight will lead to the same. So is that like
they were saying? She said it.
If you do things the same way, what is it? Doing things the same way without change is the definition of insanity.
Yes,
something along those lines.
They
basically put that into a Wordle and said, how can we say this differently? Mike, some of my kids use that. When I say, hey, reword these definitions in your own words, they put them in like a box on the internet and hit translate. And it's just English, but it's just in different words. And I'm like, well, that's not really the point of the exercise, but I love that. That was wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
I'm so mad that I forgot what I was going to riff about. I should have written it down.
Well, that's the whole idea of a riff, is not writing it down. But what we did write down, segue incoming, is our next episode predictions. Damien, you've been quiet for a while, so we're going to start with you.
Dengar.
Always.
No, I do think so. Based off of this episode, Mando can have like his Ford F-150, but he can also have a trailer. Like, he doesn't just have to be limited to an N1 starfighter. And I think that the showrunners realized they pissed off a lot of people when they blew up the Razor Crest. So I think we're going to get a return of a Razor Crest in the next episode or the episode after, in addition to Dengar.
Whoa.
I'm on the Dengar train. I can't betray him now.
I understand why they would want to bring back the Razor Crest, but I mean, he can't really haul bounties in this Naboo starfighter. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
But like, it would have to attach to the next freighter, right?
Right.
Little tow behind, or it lands on top, kind of like Ghost. Ghost had the little ship that would detach from it, and the Phantom. I think it was called the Phantom. So that would be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. All right, Mike, go ahead.
After this episode that completely went off the rails and just threw Boba out to dry, not even out to dry, just out to the garbage, I have no idea where the next episode's going to go. Yeah. Where he says that he's going to go visit his little friend, obviously Grogu. Who knows how he knows where Grogu is? I don't know. Maybe Luke was like, hey, we're going to be at this planet.
Yeah.
Come stop by. I have a couple of ideas of things that I want to see. I don't think you're going to see Mando for the rest of the season for some reason.
He's going to deny the request.
I think this episode was a lead into season 3 of Mandalorian.
Sure.
And that I think that fit well with what I said.
Sorry about that.
I think there's not going to be another Mando because I think that statement is his out for the rest of the episode, where it's like Fennec's trying to get him, and I think it leads into season 2 of Book of Boba Fett. Things I would love to see. I would love to see a Mando BK kind of standoff.
That would be
where
cool.
They just kind of stare at each other. And I hope I'm wrong in saying that there's no Mando for the rest of the season, and next episode he's on Tatooine, just BK and Mando staring at each other. I think that the next episode, but what I really think the next episode is going to be is they're trying to get muscle, right?
Right.
So this episode was about getting Mando and trying to get him on the crew. Well, one person isn't going to do a lot. And I've been saying this the entirety of this podcast, is that Cobb Vanth's going to come into play. The Tuskens, that tribe's going to come into play with Cobb Vanth. And I think the next episode is going to be Boba going to his Tusken friends and then running into Cobb Vanth. And then them not necessarily bonding, but talking about the armor. And there's going to be some sort of line where Cobb's like, nice armor. It looked better on me, kind of a thing.
Got him.
And Kira Darth Maul at some point. Not next episode, but probably finale.
Okay. So I think me and you are on the same pages there. So I think off screen, due to CGI technical difficulties, Boba is going to know how to ride this Rancor. Off screen training. Okay, I think, and listen, they had a nice practical Rancor, but in reality, not practical to film that. So I think whilst Mando is doing his Mando thing, Boba is training this Rancor. He's getting that thing ready. I think in this next episode, the Pikes strike first. Okay, the Pikes strike first, and things are going to end up looking bleak at the end of the next episode. We're definitely going to have some Darksaber usage, but I also believe Bo-Katan will show up.
Ooh.
I agree that I think Cobb is called for sure. But when things are looking bleak, who shows up? The Tuskens.
It's like the portal scene from Endgame.
Here they
but it's just all Tuskens.
Right. But it's only one portal because they're in a single file line.
Like, oh great, here comes one Tuscan. Oh wait, never mind.
Hold on, this will be a minute. They're coming through.
Does anyone have a rifle?
Yes, indeed. So,
And get this man
that's
a rifle.
our next. Yes, and get this man his stick. That is our next episode predictions. Let's finish off. Well, for second from last, our comments from the net. Mike, what do you got?
So I found a tweet, just hashtag Book of Boba Fett. This made me laugh for no reason. Love that there was a moment in today's Book of Boba Fett that was basically the equivalent of a fully armored samurai getting on a commercial airliner.
I told you the commercial airliner was my favorite part.
I love the logistics of that. And it's like, the TSA. It's like, okay, yeah, well, you got to take everything out. Okay, great. Like, that whole scene was so funny. So good.
That's awesome. All right, Dame, what you got?
So I got one as well from the Twitter universe from hashtag Book of Boba Fett. And this is pretty accurate. We lost it when Boba showed up in The Mandalorian. Now we lost it when Mando showed up in the Book of Boba Fett. The two are doing a favor for one another.
Yeah, for sure. I have a silly one, and I'm going to show the image because I'm fancy as F, and I can do that on the fly now. I've just discovered this new thing. So this is a tweet, and I laughed at it, but you need to see the image because it's the perfect image, and it's the awkward GIF image. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. Book of Boba Fett spoilers. Have you ever removed your helmet? Din Djarin. It's so good.
Photoshop skills are just on point.
Look at it. Incredible. Oh my God. Well done. And you're getting a shout out. Mel got Din back on January 26th. So that's
so good.
Perfect sort of thing. And as we finish up our episode, of course, we have to endorse our OnlyFans fanatic. Mike, what is it this week?
So you can follow me on OnlyFans. The name is Muff Gideon.
Oh my God. That is, I'm telling you, that Muff Gideon really gets my Darksaber going. Oh my God.
No day tomorrow, folks. You might be lonely. Who knows?
That's right. And as we said, I don't even know if I said in the beginning of the episode, it is January 28th, 2022. This is the day we are recording. Sorry for being one day late on your schedule. We had a lot of cool things going on this week. Not me, but other people did. And of course, we're going into a snowstorm on your Saturday. So hopefully you can sit back, relax, grab a drink, and hit this on your vinyl record player or put it on your TV for all of your kids to watch. Actually, don't watch this with kids. We have a couple curse words in it. So it's been wonderful sharing this episode with you. I've learned a lot. I hope you learned a lot. Damien, thank you. Michael, thank you. And there's only one true way that we can describe this episode. Not only perfect, but
wizard.
And that's the end of our episode. See you next week, everybody.